Hello, welcome to Video Mania 2. I'm the man behind the counter, Duncan, and today we're going to talk about another new release from Vinegar Syndrome. I had a chance to watch it the other night, so I'm going to give my thoughts on it. This was a blind buy for me. It is Red Surf, starring George Clooney, Doug Savant, Dee Dee Pfeiffer, Gene Simmons, and Vincent Klein. And it's directed by H. Gordon Booz. I had never actually heard of this movie, but I keep an eye on what Vinegar Syndrome releases, and I saw this one, and the cast was too interesting to pass up on, so I took a look at it. The movie, honestly, I'm not sure if I like it or not. I may appreciate it more in a second viewing because it's not what I expected. And part of me thinks this did kind of get restored because of this cast. This is quite a cast here. Now, the movie itself, the plot here, none of the characters are actually particularly good people, which kind of makes it hard to root for people, but there's plenty of movies like that. Now, this movie, George Clooney, who's actually very good here. This was right before he broke into superstardom. He plays a guy named Mark Remar, and he's an ex-surfer, and now he's a drug runner. And his best friend Attila, played by Doug Savant, who went on to become a pretty big star in his own right. Not as big as George Clooney, but he went on to do Melrose Place, and he's done some other stuff too. So, he was his buddy Attila, and they're best friends, and they do these things together. And Remar finds out his girlfriend, played by Dee Dee Pfeiffer, who's Michelle Pfeiffer's sister, that she's pregnant, and she wants to get out of California and go to Portland. So Remar's like, okay, I want to be a responsible dad, but he's also a drug addict, so a lot of his decision-making and responsibilities fall by the wayside with him, so he doesn't quite know what to do with this, and he doesn't exactly handle it real well. Now, so what he wants to do is set up a big score and then have enough money to go to Portland, because he can't surf anymore, and he kind of doesn't know what to do, plus he's an addict, and it's just getting progressively worse. And Attila, his best friend, even tries to warn him, but he's just blindly set on this deal to try to get through it. So like I said, these characters are kind of hard to root for, and they do a deal with people that are even worse than they are, so it's kind of dark in that sense. But this movie is kind of tonally uneven too, because there could be some dark themes that they're not explored, so it's a little different, and it reminds me of a way when I watched an older movie called Boogie Boy with Mark Dacascos. I was expecting a straight up action movie like you expect from him. Here it was like this kind of quirky movie with some action in it, with some really offbeat characters, and most of them aren't particularly good. So that's kind of like this, but I appreciated it more in a second viewing when I had different expectations for it. So this movie, maybe I'll appreciate more in a second viewing when I have a better feel for what it is. Gene Simmons is also in this. He plays Doc, and he kind of sets up a lot of stuff for them and gives them different equipment to pull off their jobs. He's not in there a whole lot, but actually when this movie was made, he's probably the most well-known cast member. And Vincent Klein from Van Damme's classic movie Cyborg is also part of this crew. And he pops in and out from time to time. And he actually, I found this out in the special features, doubled for George Clooney for the surfing scenes. So that was pretty interesting. Now, let's get into the artwork and the special features. This is the artwork from Vinegar Syndrome. Right here, pretty good. I like their slipcover. This is original artwork. Here's the back, and here is it's reversible artwork. Has the poster. There's the disc itself. Now this is a 4K scan onto a Blu-ray. And here's another thing. This isn't a terrible transfer, so don't get me wrong, but it's not Vinegar Syndrome's best. My previous video on Expect No Mercy, the transfer looked better in my opinion. The audio did. Here the audio isn't bad, and the transfer isn't terrible. And it does shine on when they're on jet skis in the ocean and it's really dark. You can see a lot more what's going on. So that actually looks really good. But the rest of it, it's not a bad transfer. It's just not Vinegar Syndrome's best. Now, here are some of these special features. Newly scanned from the original negative. Commentary track with executive producer Greg H. Sims, putting the people together because this has such an eclectic cast. There was an interview with executive producer Greg H. Sims, and there's a featurette with actress Dee Dee Pfeiffer. She talks about it. And they talked to the casting director, Ronnie Yesko, who went on to cast Pulp Fiction, among other movies. And this is a limited edition of 5,000. I have 2,449 of this 5,000 edition. So overall, this movie I'm going to have to look at again because it's not quite what I expected, and there's no one to really root for. So I may have to look at it again to really appreciate it. But this does have an interesting cast here, and like I said, the movie is a little offbeat. Also, if you like older movies, ones that fell under the radar like this, please give Video Mania 2 a like and subscribe. And that's all I have today. Thanks for tuning in, and I'll see you next time.